I prefer cooking my marinated chicken in boiling water when I'm making stir fry dishes at home. It gives it a much more softer and delicate flavor than deep frying, which is also very impractical to do in the kitchen. Stir fries on the face of it seem simple. Just take a bunch of ingredients and sauces, get your pan real hot, and toss them high in the air as they touch the flame underneath. That would make a great stir fry, no doubt. But the secret is in the texture of the ingredients, especially the delicate softness of the meat that restaurants are able to achieve. The first step to making it restaurant tender is to velvet the chicken. And here I am slicing some chicken which is partially thawed, about 60%. Semi frozen meat, being more firm, is easier to cut into thin pieces. In goes some water, which, along with oil, will be emulsified by myosin, the muscle protein in chicken. I am adding some soy sauce here as a replacement of salt. It adds a hint of nuttiness which salt lacks. Oyster sauce is optional, it contributes to more umami in the dish. Baking soda, being alkaline, denatures the protein in the chicken. The starch coating lubricates the meat, giving a stronger impression of moistness even if it gets overcooked. It enters the micro abrasions in the meat, making it smoother and slippery. At this stage, agitating the chicken while mixing will help the marinade enter the chicken and get absorbed. Leaving it in the fridge for about 2 to 3 hours, but you can also use it immediately. Just mix aggressively for about a minute. Stir fries are best served with hot steaming rice. Ideally, the Chinese or Japanese rice. These varieties have shorter grains, which are generally stickier than longer grain rice. Although this rice does not need washing, I prefer to do so. It takes off the surface starch on the rice, which results in a much fluffier final product. Texture is key for a good stir fry, and it is equally important to respect the veg. I only had carrots and beans, so that's what I will be using. But you can use any combination of vegetables: broccolis, snap peas, mushrooms, and peppers. I prefer the carrots be thin diagonal slices, and the beans can be halved or kept long. Either would be very nice in a stir fry. Half an onion will be more than enough, and separating the layers now would be better as there will not be much time once they're in the wok. Peeling garlic is as easy as smashing the cloves. And running the knife through once is good enough since we don't want a fine mince. That would burn fast. Rough chop is all we want. For the sauce, I'm adding some chicken stock powder. We rarely need chicken stock, so the powder helps. MSG for that restaurant savoriness. White pepper works better for Asian dishes than black pepper. Some sugar to balance it out. We're not making sweet and sour chicken. Some oyster sauce and some soy sauce. I add water before the cornstarch so that it doesn't stick at the bottom, and I can whisk it before the starch settles. Stir frying is essentially culinary action, and it's best to keep everything prepped and ready to be tossed in. In order to balance each ingredient's cook time, I am going to give a head start to the carrots and beans. I will blanch them for about 2 minutes so that they are about 80% done. They should be soft but retain a bite to them, not become mushy. The wok I'm using is a non-stick wok. It's thinner than a regular wok so it doesn't hold heat that well, but it is much more convenient in the home kitchen. Being thinner, heat is not evenly distributed through the wok and there exists a hot spot in the middle above the burner. I will close the lid so that it cooks faster and let it go for about a minute. Closing the lid will help with somewhat of an even distribution of heat throughout. As soon as I see that they are almost 80% done, I am quickly fishing them out with the spider. I have to be gentle, being careful not to touch the sides since the surface is non-stick and not very friendly with the metal spider. I'm holding them for some time to air dry so that it doesn't splatter when I add to the wok with hot oil. As you can see, the chicken has absorbed all the liquid and has emulsified some of it as well. I am now adding it to the boiling water. I will gently move it around to separate the individual pieces. Once done, the chicken pieces become incredibly slippery, almost slimy to the touch. But that's a good thing. It will give a much nicer, smoother mouthfeel. That is being proved by my failed attempt to pick it up here. Once again, as I carefully maneuver the metal spider within the non-stick wall, I am gently picking up the pieces. I chose a plate to put them in because it has the maximum exposed surface area for the chicken to air dry before I use it for stir frying. But given how slippery they are, a bowl would have been much better. I am trying to show the camera how tender the pieces are, but it's too hot and slippery for me to even be able to grab one properly. Now comes the stir frying. I'm adding oil when I see that the wok is hot enough. When the oil has pooled to one side, adding the onion to the other side on the bare wok gives a quick charring sear to the onion. And adding the garlic after the onion protects it from burning immediately. Oh, there's a lone bean in there. Once the onions have gotten some color on them, I'm quickly adding the blanched vegetables in after a few tosses. It's time to add Shaoxing wine or any cooking wine. If you don't use alcohol, you can use a touch of vinegar instead. It will brighten up the dish and deglaze the pan, which in case of a non-stick pan is redundant, but if you're using a stainless steel, it would be very important to use one. Here I was unable to open my bottle of wine and I spent a good 2 minutes keeping the lid under hot running water trying to open it, during which the veggies got perfectly cooked. The wine helps mask some of the gamey animal taste of chicken and livens up the whole thing. As the alcohol evaporates, I am adding my velveted chicken. The chicken is already cooked, and I'm not looking to get a color on the chicken either. I just want some of the water to evaporate so that the sauce can stick better. As you can see, the chicken is very slippery. It slides around and doesn't stick. This is the perfect texture that I am looking for. Once the chicken is dry enough, it's time to add the sauce. This will go by very quickly as the starch immediately starts to thicken. I am just tossing it around a few times till it reaches this consistency, and then it's time to take it out. I love stir fries with plain white rice. Do let me know in the comments if you prefer noodles or rice when you make stir fries at home. This stir fry can be had on its own, but I most enjoy it with a side of Chinese tomato and egg. You can find the link for that recipe in the description down below. The key idea of a stir fry is the respective texture and keeping watch of the cook time of each ingredient. Flavor is secondary. Stir fries make a quick dinner, and it's perfectly alright to not velvet your meat. It is a dish that's meant to be made quickly and consumed even quicker.